Hello everybody, this is General Yanis, and today in Death Card Tactics I'm going to be looking at the Deathshroud Terminators in melee, and specifically when to use the Cleave or when to use the Scythe profile of their very versatile Manreapers. So a question posed by my patrons, and I'm trying to answer it in this video. So let's take a look. So today is the 17th of January, so I have a test game with Epidemius, first time trying a Demon Engine list, summoning Epidemius, trying to see how that will go tomorrow. Meantime, a lot of news in the Warhammer community. Every day seems to be like a new crazy Tau weapon revealed, the Pulse Blast Cannon, strength 16, damage 12, and really a damage straight 12. It looks like a bit weapons race here. But let's see also what the weapons, the point updates will bring. I'm looking forward to the Munitorium Field Manual to see if it has anything in store for us in Death Guard. Otherwise, it's going to be maybe a tough 22 with new codexes arriving, bringing new of this type of weapons on the table. But as I said, in this video, focusing on the Deathshroud Terminators and when to use the Cleave and the Scythe profile. First looking at the weapon profiles and the difference in rolling. Then looking at when to use them if we have unbuffed Death Card Terminators, Deathshrouds. If we apply some buffs, it changes when to use the Cleave or the Scythe. And then trying to attempting a decision map or matrix, maybe helping you to remember when to use which profile. So with no further ado, a big thanks to my supporters and the patrons. Let's get started on the profiles. So looking at the weapon profiles, the Manreaper, a very strong weapon, and two profiles to choose from. The Cleave, +3, basically becomes a strength 7, AP -3, damage 2 weapon, hitting on a 3+. Basically, the weapon skill is 2+ for the Deathshrouds, -1 to hit from the Cleave, and of course it's a plague weapon. The Scythe, on the other hand, is a strength 5, AP -1, damage 1. But this has the advantage that it doesn't have -1 to hit, so always hitting, let's say, on 2+, and then you get twice the number of hit rolls. So the base attack of the Deathshroud Terminator is 4. The champion has 5 attacks. So you will be doing the normal Deathshroud will have 8 attacks with the Scythe or 4 attacks with the Cleave. In theory, 4 attacks with a potential damage 2 is equal damage as 8 attacks with damage 1, although the damage 2 could be wasted or reduced by some rules. Damage 1 typically cannot be, let's say, further reduced. So apart from this, of course, there will be a difference in the hit roll, a big difference, also potentially a big difference on the wound roll, and then on the save rolls, where the Cleave has a big advantage thanks to AP -3. So looking at some of the math for the hit roll, if we don't apply any buffs to our Deathshroud Terminators, hitting on a 3+ will give us 67% success rate on our dice. The Scythe hitting on a 2+ will give us 83%. The Scythe here has an advantage. Let's say you would be doing 25% more hits compared to the Cleave, just taking into account the hit roll. If we add reroll ones, the reroll ones to hit, if we have a Chaos Lord nearby, Lord of the Death card nearby, we increase the percentage of both the Cleave and the Scythe, but the advantage of the Scythe is the same. If we apply the Vermid Whisper, so +1 to hit with the Tallyman, then we are benefiting the Cleave. It also becomes a 2+ to hit. So basically, then you don't have any advantage on the Scythe for the hit roll. And if the enemy is -1 to hit for some reason, for some rules, then basically the Cleave cannot be further brought down from a 3+. It already has a -1. So in that case, the Scythe and the Cleave are equal also. So basically, +1, applying +1 to hit, or applying that the enemy has a -1 to hit, can equalize the Scythe advantage. The advantage is basically 25% on the hit rolls. If we move to the wound roll, the wound roll, the cleave has the advantage, of course, on the wound roll being a strength 7 weapon compared to the strength 5 weapon of the scythe, scything attack. But as we can see, if we are looking at toughness 3 and toughness 5 enemies, then the wound rolls are equal for the cleave and the scythe, and then the cleave doesn't have any advantage. For toughness 4, we have 25% advantage on the cleave. The best advantage for the cleave is toughness 7, where with a contagion, this is basically the toughness of the enemy before contagion is applied, before -1 toughness. So here for toughness 7, the cleave profile will be wounding on a nice 3+, while the scythe will be struggling on a 5+. So here you will be doing double damage, basically double the wound rolls potential. So the toughness 7 is the best advantage for the cleave, also good advantage for toughness 8 and 6, and also toughness 4. For toughness 5 and toughness 3, the wound rolls are equal, and here the cleave doesn't have any advantage over the scythe, especially for these targets, as we will see a bit later. And then moving on to the save roll for the opponent. This is of course dependent on the save and the invulse armor save and the invulse save of the target enemy. Here I'm showing different saves. We can even have a save 1+ for some enemies where they can basically negate one of the AP, up to armor save 7+, basically no save. And then we have targets here with 4+ invulse save and different baseline saves. So here, if we have the armor save here for the various targets, and then the cleave, you can see with AB -3, the enemy, even with a 1+ save, it will be saving on a 4+. The scythe will only be saving on a 2+, or the enemy will be saving on a 2+. So basically, most of the damage will be saved, and the cleave, basically, thanks to the nice high AP, has a big advantage versus most targets. But of course, for targets that have very poor saves, there is basically no advantage to using the cleave. This happens earlier. Let's say if the enemy has an invulse save already from, for example, a 4+ invulse save target with an armor save of 3+, then the scythe has the sufficient AP -1 to bring basically no advantage here. So looking at the targets with a 2+ or even a 1+ save, like the Custodes can get, really need the cleave profile to force a nice save. Even otherwise, even twice amount of hit rolls that don't help the scythe there if the enemy just can be saving on a 2+. The scythe, of course, has the best, let's say, that doesn't have any disadvantage for targets with poor saves or the targets that basically always save on the invul save. And then finally, the damage allocation then is also a difference from the cleave and the scythe. As we saw, the cleave has a 2 damage profile. The scythe has a 1 damage profile. So if we are attacking 1 wound enemy models like a horde type, then of course the cleave will only be doing 1 wound, basically, while the scythe will have the potential of doing 2 times 1 wound because it has doubled the number of attacks. The same with Disgusting Resilience. So halving the amount of attacks, halving the damage for the cleave, of course, if the enemy, we're losing a lot of damage if the enemy only has 1 wound or if the enemy has a Disgusting Resilience, for example, a Death Guard mirror match. For 2 wound models, there is no loss for the cleave. Basically, all wounds go through. For 3 wound models, there is a slight loss. So, for example, attacking a wound 3 eradicator with let's say with the cleave, and would need two successful wounds with the cleave. Will be killing 1 eradicator, will be losing 1 wound, while the scythe only needs 3 hits to kill, let's say, one eradicator. And then basically for multiple wound targets with no damage reduction, we don't have any advantage of the scythe. But of course, there is a significant advantage for 1 wound models and Disgusting Resilience models. So applying basically this all these calculations and permutations that you can have for for various enemies here. So if we are looking at this type of table here, I did the calculations for enemies with various toughness, with various armor saves, and in this table here, we have multi-wound models. They don't have any invul save, and they don't have any damage reduction potential. We see that for most targets here in this table, the cleave is better than the scythe. So if you have, for example, a toughness 6 opponent with a 3+ save, multi-wound model, then the cleave is the best choice. The scythe is only prevalent for toughness 3, 5, and 4, where we have poor saves. And in this case, yeah, then the high number of attacks is better than the lower number of attacks with the cleave, but a bit higher damage. If we had the 4+ invul, quite similar potential most of the times, and especially for the high toughness enemies, cleave is the best one. Scythe is important for let's say lower toughness, and where with the AP -1 forces the enemy model to go to its 4+ invul save. If we look at the one wound models, as expected, with no invul saves or with invul saves, basically the scythe is better because the cleave is wasting a lot of damage, can only kill one model even if it's doing a two wound damage. But the math here shows that if your enemy for some reason has a very good save with a 1+, then the cleave is better with the AP -3. The 3 wound models, a bit more complex picture, because here the cleave is losing some of its damage. Then the scythe becomes more interesting, especially for toughness 3 and toughness 5, where we saw the wound rolls are equal for the cleave and the scythe. So as I said, versus one wound models, the scythe is the best choice. In most cases for high toughness, the cleave is the better one, and versus 3 wound models, the scythe becomes a bit more interesting, especially for toughness 3 and toughness 5. If we apply the +1 to hit on the Deathshrouds, for example, with the Vermid Whisper stratagems or the Tallyman, then we see compared to the previous page, if you go if you pause and go a bit back, we see more of the cleave, because the advantage the scythe has on the hit roll is negated by the +1 to hit. Otherwise, seem more or less the same for one wound models. For most one wound models, still the scythe is better here. Basically, the cleave damage is improved by 2+ hit roll, while the scythe is not improved by the Vermid Whispers or the Tallyman's tally ability. If we look at the archcontaminator, where we have the reroll all to wound, this comparatively helps the scythe better, more than the cleave. A lot of the times, maybe the cleave profile, we are wounding on a 2+, so with a plague weapon we're already rerolling once. Maybe the scythe will be, let's say, wounding on a 3+, then it could reroll 1s and 2s, so it becomes a bit more prevalent, but not super much versus the multi-wound models, more for the 3 wound models. And finally, trying to show you the table here for some example enemy models. So these are the general Yanis 31 targets. I hope the resolution is enough that you can see here. For the patterns, I will upload these results to a table where you to the file where you can check the result. Here we have the death card with disgusting resilience. You see the scythe is doing more damage. This is the damage output expected for one Deathshroud Terminator using either the cleave or the scythe, and with the color coding you can see where it's the highest. So we see, for example, with something with disgusting resilience like death card, for most targets the scythe is the best profile. For example, attacking the Blightlord Terminators or Terminators, then it's better to use the scythe. But not even for toughness 7, it's better to use, even with disgusting resilience, it's better to use the cleave. For here we have, for example, Thousand Suns, or if they don't have disgusting resilience, for most um, enemies, the cleave profile is the best. For let's say the normal general Yanis 31 targets here, is a bit mixed match of one wound models. Of course, the Scythe is better. Horde type enemies, the Scythe is better, but for most of the, let's say, more elite infantry and the high toughness enemies, the cleave is better. So attempting here finally at the end to make a decision matrix, an attempt here. So let's say if you start this chart here, does the enemy have a toughness 7? I haven't found any combination where if you have a toughness 7, simply the cleave is better here. So no, you should if you can answer yes, you go to select the cleave profile. Then basically if your enemy has a 1 wound and or has disgusting resilience, then you should choose the Scythe profile. If your enemy has a save of 2+ or better, you should go to the cleave. And if your enemy has bad saves, the target has a save of 5+ or worse, or the enemy armor save is 1 pip away from their invul, and we have toughness 3 or 5, and also let's say wound 3, then the Scythe is better versus those targets. Otherwise, for most of the other targets, the cleave is the better choice. If you apply Vermid Whispers, you get a bit more, let's say, a bit more tilting to the cleave. If you have archcontaminator, you get a little bit more tilting to the Scythe. So I hope this could help. It's not 100%. It's not so easy to find a perfectly logical rule to follow. This was the best I could come up with. So, reaching to the summary and final thoughts, I think the Deathshroud, a top unit and a top choice for the Death Guard army, very potent, especially in melee. Their melee profiles for their Manreaper makes them very versatile. They can deal with elite infantry, horde type infantry. They can also deal with vehicles. They can do a lot of damage, but it's not always easy to determine the best profile. Hopefully the video and this analysis will be of some help, helping you to choose more optimally the best profile to use for the situation. So I hope this can be helpful for you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments, yeah, let me know for any more suggestions for videos. As I said, I'm looking forward to the point updates where I can check how the relative strength of units will change and how we can fare versus other enemies and armies that are coming. This basically summarizes the video. If you like this video, please press like and subscribe to my channel, where I will be posting more Warhammer analysis for Death Guard, for Thousand Suns, for more Chaos Function as they come out. Here is the link to my Patreon page, and this concludes the video. Stay safe out there, stay safe, and bye bye.